Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about debates on the internet. Now I like to go on to various Reddit forums or Facebook threads recently and like stuff like that and just see the dumb stuff that people put out there into the world and just kind of try and counteract it. I'm not doing it to sort of instill my beliefs onto them or to try and convert them over to what I'm thinking, that kind of thing. I'm kind of just doing it for a bit of entertainment, but it's the same sort of entertainment as like watching like dumb reality TV or something like that, where it's not actually engaging. It's just kind of, it gives you the quick dopamine rush without any kind of holistic reason behind it for actually putting you in that situation where you're actually kind of getting something out of what you're doing. So it's a nice little bit of entertainment, but it's not particularly fulfilling. If anything, it just makes you a little bit annoyed and agitated because it makes you realize that there's such terrible people out there with such terrible views. I think the one I remember that's coming to mind now is I was on Reddit maybe a year ago or something like that, and I went on this thread that this guy put out, basically talking about how he was giving up on women, right? And whenever you hear that, you're like, oh, okay, let's have a bit of fun with this. Let's see what this guy's saying. How are women the lower class this time? And he basically was trying to make this point that he should be able to have as many women as he wants, but at the same time, those women should only be allowed to have him. So it's like this one-sided monogamy, and then the other half gets to be polygamous. So the man gets to sleep with whoever he wants, right? And the woman can't say anything, but the woman can't sleep with whoever she wants, or he'll go mental. So I kind of pointed out the hypocrisy there and how that's not really fair. And he sort of went on this tangent about, men are the key and then women are the lock. And, you wouldn't want a lock that can be opened by any key. And it's like, you've just made this metaphor to make your point rather than the other way around, where the metaphor helps make your point. You've based your point around this metaphor of the lock and the key, which none of this, the only reason you've gone for lock and key is because a lock goes into a key. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But also, men aren't fucking keys, women aren't locks, we're not doors, we're human beings. And I had a bit of fun with him, and I tried to take him semi-seriously. Not because I took him seriously, but because I could see that there was clearly some kind of mental instability behind him. And I didn't want to just make fun of him just based on his beliefs, even though internally I was laughing at the things he was saying. And that was where I was getting my entertainment from. But a part of me was trying to sort of get through to him a little bit. And now that I've gone onto Facebook again, it's so much worse. At least that guy, I could tell that he was really depressed with the world and he'd become quite nihilistic in the base sense, the basic sense of just, there's no point in anything, not the actual philosophy of nihilism. He just didn't care about the world and he thought the world didn't care about him. So, I thought I'd take him a little bit seriously, but the stuff on Facebook, Jesus Christ, I get to the point where I don't bother taking it seriously. I just comment really straight to the point, nah, you're wrong, right? And I have a bit of fun with it, and I just make little jokes and stuff like that. And is that really helping? Is that adding to the discourse? Is that making things better? I don't really think it is. I mean, all I'm doing is giving engagement to these disinformation campaigns, these Facebook pages that you notice them. For instance, there's these ones in Britain which are oh, Britain was so much better way back when. And it's sure, okay, you want to post your nostalgic little pictures of Britain in the 1960s and 70s? Cool, that's a fun little niche where people can go, oh, I remember that and that kind of stuff, right? That's fine. I don't have a problem with that inherently. But it's when you go on the little page and you see that it changed its name from some random thing from Mexico, and then you see that it changed its name then from something in Russia and the servers are based out of Moscow, and it's just okay, this is a Russian disinformation campaign, all right, and I'm just feeding into it and giving it exactly what it wants, because what it wants is to create outrage, and it wants people like me to morally grandstand over the bots that are putting out all this garbage. And I bet at least 50% of the things that I respond to are just machines that are just algorithmically inclined to just post whatever is going to garner the most amount of attraction as possible. And it's not a good thing that I'm doing. I'm not helping the world in any real way by responding to these things. I've certainly never changed anyone's mind. I've certainly not made anyone, think more about the world that they live in or anything like that. And they haven't done the same to me. We're not having any kind of like exchange of ideas here with respect behind it. We're taking the piss out of one another, and we're seeing straight past one another's issues, and because their issues come from this totally different world where like I just don't even recognize the stuff on there. It's just like, the LGBT are coming to like, turn all your kids gay by like indoctrinating them into like child pedophiles or something like that, and it's just, none of it is based in any kind of reality, so I can't really add to it. All I can do is just have a laugh at it. And then I'm sure there's someone in the comments here that's just seen that and gone, oh, he's part of the woke agenda or whatever. And I don't mean to get into that kind of thing. I'm not interested in joining this culture or this. I'm just saying from my perspective, my experience of having these little debates on the internet, because I'm sure loads of you like to have little debates on the internet. You like to have a bit of fun just typing out some dumb stuff, and it maybe gets you to research a little thing because someone makes a really stupid point, so you kind of Google it to see what's going on there, and you end up reading some random paper about some subject that you only partially care about. But it's semi-learning. It's maybe learning just to prove yourself right, but it's still learning all the same. And so in a way that is kind of fun. But I think we need a space to have these debates where we can tell that the other person is real and they're coming from a place of goodwill and good faith, and we can exchange ideas in a fair sort of way where we can acknowledge one another's grievances whilst pointing out flaws in their arguments. Because like, I'm not a perfect individual. My arguments are often flawed. I remember I was at the bank about 2 weeks ago, right? And I was in the queue and I was a little bit tired. And I went up there and I said, can I take some money from this bank account and put it into this bank account? She said, and it was like a different bank account. And so she sort of said, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. And then I got and sat down and I realized I was totally in the wrong because I'd said the things in the wrong order. And she was confused and I was getting annoyed at her because I was wrong and she was confused by what I was saying. And so I just kept trying to reiterate what I was saying, and I was getting really like quite agitated. And I thought that was quite a good metaphor for what basically happens with all this, debating on the internet. Someone is wrong, but they have convinced themselves that they're right. And whenever someone tries to point out that they're wrong, that is taken as an attack. And so you end up rooting yourself deeper and deeper into the issue. And it was only when I really sat down and thought about it, I was like, shit, I was completely in the wrong. And I really should have gone up to her and said, I'm really sorry, but there was a big queue and I thought, I'm not queuing for 20 minutes just to apologise to her. So I left and I felt quite bad because I'd made her day slightly worse. I'm now another person that she'll probably tell as a story to like her boyfriend or whatever, just going, oh, these fucking people that come to my work, arseholes, and I'll be one of those little stories. This really tall guy came in and he just said, I want to put this into this, and it's like, we can't do that. And he just kept getting annoyed at me. And it's like, yeah, I was wrong. I was completely and utterly wrong in that situation. And I think there's a way that we need to sort of come together and realise that we're not always correct on everything, and to find some language that we can use to respectfully point out that someone else is wrong, so that person can feel comfortable admitting that they're wrong, because it's part of human nature. We want to be correct, we want to be right, because being right tends to mean that we can progress, and we want to progress. Why do we want to progress? Because we want to get to the things we want to achieve. And then in the long run, that tends to be stuff like getting a house and getting a family and all that kind of stuff in the long distant future. And then to build up to that, you've got individual little goals that take you along the way, and for each of those, you need to be correct on certain topics. So it's in our nature to want to be correct on stuff. And I think we just need to find a way of allowing our language to give us phrases to admit that we're wrong in a way that doesn't delegitimize us entirely. Because like, you see someone on a video or whatever, and they're wrong about an issue, and you just like, everyone piles in on them. And suddenly it's like, this person's wrong, they're a load of shit, aren't they? It's like, yeah, but I don't know what they do when they get off the camera, and maybe they're right about other stuff, like, if all anyone saw of me on the internet was me at that bank being wrong, it's not like I became a full like Karen or anything, but I was certainly in the wrong, and I certainly got a bit agitated, just because like we were hitting a brick wall with one another, and she was right and I was wrong, and I thought I was right and I thought she was wrong, and it's a immovable object meets a heavy force, or whatever the fucking saying is, and I think with debating on the internet, it's a lot of fun, but I think we need to sort of find a way of doing it in a more productive way. I remember I went and saw a couple debates live, like proper debates, because I got into like, you know, YouTube philosophy kind of stuff. I started watching Alex O'Connor, and then I started watching a few others sort of around that, and I started watching internet debates between random streamers and stuff. And like, it would be the ones where one is totally in the wrong and one is totally in the right. They were just like fun entertainment. And then I started enjoying, like, there was one that was like Hitchens versus Hitchens, and that one was quite fun. And then I watched one that was like all about the Catholic Church, and I think it had Stephen Fry doing a little bit, and you know, it was quite entertaining. And I went and signed up for this little like debate club. I didn't debate in it because I'm not very good at making my points, but I sort of sat and watched a couple of them, and it was nice to see two people that were like, they had opposite, you know, opinions on a matter, but they were able to come together and respectfully have a dialogue about it. Because, you know, if one person thinks they're totally right and the other person thinks they're totally right, just delegitimizing the other person for what they think isn't going to make them realize that they're wrong. And obviously just, you know, politely saying you're incorrect isn't going to massively do much either to someone that's, you know, fully indoctrinated into certain ideologies and stuff like that. Like, I can't just go up to a Christian and just go, sorry, God doesn't exist. And they'll go, oh, yeah, you make a good point. No, I'm not going to go to the church anymore. I'm going to become an atheist. You know, that it doesn't work like that. If you want to admit that you're wrong, it needs to come from within, not from an external pressure. And I think we need to find a way that we can make it more acceptable for people to come out and just admit that they're wrong about stuff. Because we're all wrong about stuff from time to time. None of us are perfect individuals, none of us are perfect beings, and that's fine. It's okay to be wrong about stuff. So yeah, I think that's going to be the video. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you got something out of it. And yeah, let me know your experiences of having debates on the internet. Have you ever gotten riled up because of them as well? Because that's something that happens. You end up getting riled up about stuff that doesn't affect you. And you know, that's negative energy that you don't need in your life. Negative attraction, sort of, that you don't need deep down. And I'm sure a load of you have had the debate with someone that you disagree with on the internet. So leave your experiences below, when it's maybe made you feel really bad, or maybe it's made you feel good, or maybe it's made you learn more about an issue, or maybe, you know, you realized you were wrong for an internet debate, or something like that, or you can turn someone else's opinion around, and how did you do that? Or how did they manage to get you to turn your opinion around? And leave a comment below about that kind of thing, about your previous experiences with this. And yeah, that's gonna be it from me. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, take care everybody. Bye-bye.